A-PAC exclusive interview.
Okay, and I am back. I felt that this being the last episode of A-PAC for the season, that I should do something special, so I found a guest who will soon hold a world record for something so obscure that even the Guinness World Record people are not even aware of it and don't have a record for it. But they may soon. After my guest goes public in this very interview, he is Mr. Edgar Nystrom, and he is soon to be the world record holder for being held hostage over 79 times. He is joining me on the phone. Mr. Nystrom, it is a pleasure to have you on A-PAC to ring in this show's 9th birthday on the air and to help close out its 9th season.
Thank you, Tim. And may I say to the captive audience at home that I'm being treated well as his prisoner.
You mean interviewee?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Old habits.
No problem. So Mr. Nystrom, tell us a bit about yourself and how you unofficially became, but soon hopefully are to become, the official world record holder for number of times held hostage.
Certainly, as you wish, Mr. Morgan. Well, it all started back in the summer of '76 when I was on vacation, which was to be a tour of the Mediterranean and parts of Europe. I just finished my stay in Athens, Greece, and was on a flight bound for Paris when hijackers took over the plane. One thing led to another, and we ended up in the African nation of Uganda. Eventually, I was freed after some Israeli commandos stopped by.
Operation Thunderbolt? You were a hostage in that?
I know, no biggie.
Wow.
Then a few years later, while at a garage sale in Iran, I was rounded up with a bunch of U.S. diplomats and held hostage for 444 days.
Amazing! You were part of the Iran hostage crisis, too?
It sounds more exciting than it was. Locked up with a bunch of U.S. diplomats while being guarded by Iranian extremists. Got old pretty quick. By the end of the year and a half-ish, we had gotten so sick of playing Truth or Dare. I can't tell you how many times we painted each other's toenails. It's the naked pillow fights that still give me nightmares.
I can't imagine and don't want to.
When we were finally let go, I said to hell with that side of the world and decided to go someplace where I could get away from the whole hostage scene. So I went to Mexico City. Turned out that was a slight error on my part.
Yeah, in Mexico City alone, there's like around 70 kidnappings a month. I think it's so big, it's part of Mexico's GDP. So why did you stay in Mexico?
Oh, the food. I love Mexican food. And in Mexico, do you know that it's everywhere?
No kidding. Okay, so why did you eventually leave?
The food, well, at least the water that they used to make it. After about 13 years in Mexico, I decided to go someplace where I could still enjoy hearty food, but without the explosive anal after effects.
Understandable.
I also wanted to go someplace I could easily buy a gun and ensure that no one ever took me hostage again without an epic yet bloody gun battle.
Ah, you mean Texas.
Where else? Unfortunately, I moved to Waco, Texas in '93. That's where I met David Koresh at a barbecue.
He took you hostage?
I started out as a follower. I had a thing for crazy religious leaders with ratty beards and, of course, Texas-style barbecue.
Well, Koresh knew how to barbecue.
I did try to leave when I saw that they were going to be doing a Mexican food night twice a week. I wasn't going to put my colon through that again. But I couldn't leave, because by that time, the FBI and David Koresh, well, they were having a bit of a tiff. So essentially, I was being held hostage again, either by David or the FBI, depending on who you believe.
How did you escape then?
Well, when David's place went up in flames because they tipped over the barbecue, I held my breath and did a lot of stop, drop, and rolling around. It's amazing how well that works at putting out fires. My asbestos thong helped out a bit, too.
Okay, so now we're up to 1993. Your hostage experiences started in '76. So at that point, you had been in the hostage game for 17 years.
I know. After Waco, I was going to take it easy for a few years, but soon with all this freedom on my hands, I found myself feeling lost and out of place. It was the 90s, so I tried to find direction by immersing myself in 90s culture.
So, what does that mean?
Well, I listened to a lot of Green Day and became a crack cocaine addict.
Ah, enough said. I think that happened to most of us in the 90s.
Yeah. After rehab, I was on a plane home to L.A., where I hoped to finally be free of the drug culture. But my hostage destiny had captured me again, for it was 2001, September 11th.
What?
Well, I told the hijackers that I wasn't about to be taken hostage on a plane again, not with the kind of food that's served. They said okay and threw me off the plane.
Threw you off the plane? How did you survive?
When they opened the door, it set off the inflatable escape slide, which I then used to sail back to Earth.
Kind of like in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, well, it was either that or use my vomit bag to parachute to safety.
Amazing. So, Edgar, it's been 10 years since 9/11. So why come out now? What has captured your interest in self-promotion?
Well, after the whole 2001 thing, which I've never really heard anything more about, it got me thinking, though, that international incidents are where it's at. Plus, with my vast hostage experience, I believe I can really help people.
Yeah, of course you could. There's no telling how much you could teach people about avoiding hostage situations entirely, or how much we could learn from you about how hostage situations could be diffused safely.
What? No. I want to teach people how to be the best damn hostage they can be. There's no point in trying to avoid hostage situations. They are inevitable. Like winning the lottery. Sooner or later, it's going to happen to all of us.
No it isn't.
Of course it is. Every one of us will be taken hostage at some point in our lives, whether it's international hostage incidents like me, or getting suckered into a soul-crushing cell phone contract, or being held captive in a sex dungeon three-way between yourself, a Revenue Canada tax collector, and his seven-toed midget concubine. Being held hostage is a fact of life we all will have to deal with at some point.
Well, maybe. But you promised me you wouldn't mention the three-way thing. I'm still trying to move past that.
That was you? Anyway, anyone who is interested in learning how to be the ultimate hostage can look me up at my new office down on Main Street. My business is called the Eternal Hostage, a division of Captive Interests. I'm open day or night, and I invite you to come on down, put a bag on my head, and throw me into a waiting nondescript vehicle. Drive me off to an undisclosed remote location. I recommend using a white or black panel van with its windows tinted as your hostage mobile. Speak of the devils. A group of men in ski masks carrying sawed-off shotguns and a large burlap sack. Must be customers. Well, Tim, I gotta go. But remember, everyone, that's the Eternal Hostage on Main Street.
At the Eternal Hostage, we take cash, credit, or trade. Trade is in don't break my fingers with a hammer. I won't charge for my services. You guys are answers.
And that was my guest, Edgar Newstrom, talking about his multiple experiences as a hostage and how he hopes one day soon to be recognized as the world record holder in that category. Also, he has opened a new hostage consulting business, which may or may not involve him being mailed somewhere, little by little, in the form of his severed body parts.
This has been an exclusive A-PAC interview.